concern. I think Viking, or rather ASM Gambit, as well as with this lineup, I don't think they really have themselves a good lineup, or a good mid laner to delay the game. Whereas Boom could try and do that, but the issue for Viking is that if you're delaying the game, what are you going to delay it for? What's that next item on your carry Doom, right? ASM Gambit, it's going to be hard for them to get the ball rolling in that regards, especially because we do have the ways and the tools of hunting down and killing the squirrel if she's trying to split push, which is something that you can do, right? Again, I like to compare this hero to the Treant Protector in that regards, but you know, this draft would hunt a Treant, so it's going to have no problem hunting the squirrel as well. So it's going to be a really delicate laning stage with the setup, and as far as to how Viking looks to try and take and pressure the map here is going to be pretty crucial. Because ASM Gambit, if they can get the farm on the Luna and the Morphling, then I think this is going to be a fairly easy win for them here. That's a big if, of course.
I agree, but I want to give credit to Viking GG's draft as opposed to other carry Dooms I've seen, because in this case, you do have a relatively, actually a pretty solid win condition in the mid lane in the Storm. A lot of the Doom drafts I've seen with another tempo controller in the mid lane, and then you have a bunch of tempo and nobody to play around except for your Doom sometimes, and that just feels weak. Whereas here, if the Doom creates space, he might actually just be able to create that space for Boom, and Boom can carry the game for you.
Absolutely.
With a good core-to-core matchup against the Morphling, struggles a bit against the Luna, but certainly can burst down the Morphling, and even more carry potential now with 2x overload attack bounce, if you want to go into the late game, of course, the Storm. It is an idea. I mean, theoretically, I like the Viking GG draft. I just haven't seen the carry Doom work yet.
Yeah, I like it as well. I want to be clear. I agree with everything you've said. I just think it's going to be a little hard for them to do this game because it's a lot of your lanes. Well, this Kazu lane is a must-win. You cannot afford to lose this lane that hard, anyway. I would say the same thing here of Doom. I mean, here's the thing, is a lot of the times on Doom, when we talk to him in respect to an offlaner, usually this isn't a concern, because, oh, you get experience, you eat creeps, you get Devour, you're good to go. That's not going to quite cut it here, in my opinion, here for the Viking GG lineup. I think they need this Doom lane to do a little bit better than just get XP and just, you know, use Devour whenever it's off cooldown. That's definitely, you know, part of it, but it's got to be a little bit stronger here if they're going to be hoping to undercut the timings here and play the tempo game versus this ASM Gambit lineup. Should be exciting, though.
It's going to be an exciting match. At least for Viking GG, they're going to be conditioned to fight constantly, so we'll see. In the end, they end up running normal lanes, by the way, so the Darkseer might struggle a bit. We'll see, though, because, you know, you have a Spirit Breaker with you, so you might still be able to pull this off. But what is certain is that this combo of Hoodwink plus Luna should be quite strong against Timber. Luna was the quintessential Timber counter in the Animajor. Huge win rate against this hero, at least, especially in the lane, and also worked with the draft that they have, because they try to draft this Luna with a Morphling every single time anyway.
Oh, we'll see here how it's going to get started. Of course, Eller with Arctic Burn now, doing a great deal of damage to Immersion, who started off already with the brown boots, just going straight into these Tranquils. This is, again, not that weak of a lane, though. I mean, it's a very strong lane, of course, Doom and Wyvern being two of the more annoying heroes, and especially so when it's in the safe lane. Denied from Afterlife, though, hitting that with the Karate Chop, nearly getting a second. But, yeah, I mean, well, I'd be curious, because I think, like, well, here's Immersion already, creep skipping, so this is exactly what he needs to be doing here. The lane is just a little bit too difficult in these early levels. You can play very uber aggressively, definitely, with this dual lane, but not until you get level 3, or level 3 and then 2 points in Ion Shell, rather.
How do you stop this from happening, right, though? How do you stop this creep cutting? Because as Doom and as Wyvern, I don't feel like there's much you can do to it. Like, you can try to connect your wave with theirs, for example, or you can try to connect like a camp, right? But Immersion's also blocking that from happening. Very smart blocks here, blocking that small camp, so you can't really contest that. And Doom and Winter Wyvern just do nothing against this. We talked about this earlier in another match, remember? Where we were saying that, like, these supports, the Winter Wyvern, for example, support, had actually risen in prominence because of this more creative ways to stop these creep cuttings by taking over the creeps or by, you know, combining both lanes, etc. But much like those ways were creative to get the creep cutting to stop, now there's more creative ways to stop those creative ways from happening as the meta evolves as a layered cake. As a tres leches cake.
Oh, a tres leches.
This is the third milk of the leches.
I like it, and I'll tell you what, the alternative here, the flan to the tres leches after you pass it off, is Celery actually rotating on over to the mid lane and at least helping Boom. I think he kind of recognizes this, Avo, this point you're making was, I can't really stop this pull. Immersion at the end of the day is just too darn tanky. With brown boots, if he gets another bash here after the charge, he might just kill him here, to be honest. Just needs the one bash. Celery gonna try and get himself denied. That's not gonna work out here. Immersion with boots. boots is plenty fast, and there's the bash for the first blood here. Nicely done. But I think going mid lane and at least denying the first water rune here for Morphling is going to help him out here quite a bit. Because Boom being able to secure his, not having to fight the Morphling, doesn't have to sacrifice his farm, doesn't have to put himself in a dangerous position, and continue farming away at these side camps to make sure that he's going to be able to have as an explosive start as possible.
That's true. I think, though, the worry to me of the Morphling is the moment where Boom is capable of ganking him when he hits 6, and Lornoff still can't do much against him. I think that's the moment where we'll really see the obstacle that Lornoff has to face and how he's going to overcome that. Whether it be by ganks, whether it be by playing super defensively, but that to me is the turning point for him. If he can withstand that small power spike Storm gets at level 6, I think you'll be pretty solid. But you need to be able to deal with that. In fact, if I was Viking GG, I would actually rotate heroes there as well.
I don't know if you saw that by Kezu. Kezu, he chopped down the tree. Bush.
That was great.
But something that's, you know, maybe this is me not valuing the Hoodwink enough. Definitely very possible. But to me, once this Storm hits level 6, if I have enough mana, I'm going to dive with this Morphling. I'm not really necessarily scared of any of these side rotations of either the Spirit Breaker, because he's going to have trouble actually, you know, reaching you and stunning you for a second time, as well as Ina. But again, that could be me underestimating the strength of the Hoodwink.
Could be. I don't know. I think that Hoodwink against Storm at level 1 Ball Lightning, you can catch him with Bushwhack. At level 2, not so much. It depends so much on your positioning because you got to get him from out of vision. Like, that projectile's really slow. Kezu, careful. Oh, they missed the Bushwhack, so Kezu's free. He knows that as well. Like, as soon as he saw the Bushwhack flying, he didn't hit him. He's like, all right, free to hit them. They can't attack me any longer. Ina deals no damage. Acorn Shot actually will trigger reactive armor, so as Hoodwink, you don't really harass him too much.
Damage. Bushwhack again is going to whiff.
Missed?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not able
is
to
that the Timber Chain that broke the tree? Could
that one just looked a little bit off the mark, to be honest. I think what he was trying to do was trying to get it onto this tree, which perhaps was broken by the Timber Chain, but maybe it was just a miss. I'm not sure. Obviously, you want to minimize the travel time of the Bushwhack projectile, and I think that time Ina just got a little bit ahead of himself.
Oh, Boom. They're going to catch him. Immersion just jumps for him. Aramis is here to cover him, though. There's the little Impale. Boom already got this level 6, so it's going to work out for them. Nice rotation by Aramis. They know they can't lose the Storm this early, but Immersion also very proactive, acknowledging this is when he's going to either go to the jungle to farm or try to hunt down Lornoff. You're there to avoid either scenario. Well played by Immersion.
Yeah, very true. Top lane is kind of just this farming standoff where Afterlife and Shad, they both know they can't realistically kill one another unless Shad wants to pick up the Purge Creep. It's a possibility for him. For now, the War Stomp is all he needs. But you can see, it's a level 3 Ion Shell. Shad just doesn't care. He's simply too tanky. The fact, though, that you're right, that we did have the Spirit Breaker kind of just annoying the Storm in the jungle, not only will slow his farm, but also made it a little bit easier down bottom to threaten Kezu. Nice Impale here out from Lornoff, who will morph into the Cockroach. An extra battle. Immersion will secure the kill. Adaptive Strike there is going to net Aramis, or rather Lornoff, an extra 180 gold.
He's a fan of Beast Coast, that's why it's called him Kakas. They actually had a conversation where they explained what Kakas meant. Schofield was explaining it to him, actually. So he knows. He knows it means trash now. So Lornoff enjoying himself, getting a nice little kill here, and Viking GG. The loss of Aramis, I don't think it's that big a deal. It could have been Boom, that would have been much worse, but we haven't seen the aggression towards the Morphling just yet, or any intent to do so. Hey, Boom is waiting for the first big item, or they're just, putting their supports in place. You don't have the best ganking supports, honestly.
So
Nyx,
Boom is going Kaya and Sanj here, by the way. I thought he would maybe consider the Orchid this time around, at least maybe to force Lornoff to go.
Me too.
I guess it's not really that great of a game, though, because you can still surge him, and he's going to be able to escape. You've got a Manta style that's going to be built here almost certainly on the Luna, so I see the weakness of it as well, but I thought it would be a decent game for it. Here's a nice Impale, though, onto 2. Charge, though, is going to catch a couple of heroes as out comes the Wall of Illusion. Vacuum already used here is not going to be able to lock down Boom long enough, but with Lornoff here, will be able to wait for him and get a secondary kill here onto Aramis. Immersion still chasing.
Yeah, he wants Celery, and so does Ina, but they do catch poor Immersion. There's the Bushwhack to save his life. In fact, the creeps might just finish him off. He tries to charge away, but Boom will land the finishing shot. Lornoff wants to avenge his teammate. He's going up to the high ground. Doesn't have the morph just yet, but Ina's with him. Bushwhack is available in just 1 second. Lornoff, are you going to dive this? He has the waveform. Wow. Celery just barely out of range, but no, Lornoff is just going to come here, farm some creeps aggressively, and force Boom outside of his own jungle.
This vision by ASM Gambit, or sorry, by Viking GG is what I mean to say has been absolutely on point. I didn't quite mention it. I caught it with my camera, and I think, you know, people might have commented on it. But they actually rotated the Squirrel top lane after Luna kind of moved into the jungle, along with Immersion to try and get a kill onto Shad. Now here comes the D ward as they figure out they must have had vision because Shad was preemptively out of the lane. Same kind of play happens here in favor of Viking GG. And that's going to make their early game here a little bit easier, not taking any unnecessary deaths to this early aggression for ASM Gambit as they try and speed up their own game. Really, really good job on the wards.
Yeah, that's true. And they have managed to size or get a bit of a lead now. Shad going for the... I guess we can call this now the carry Doom build because we've seen it so often. The Midas immediately as first item rushing the PKP. We'll see how this works out for them this time. You know, carry Doom does like to rush the Shivas, and this time I actually see a lot of use for it. Obviously against the Morphling, reducing that healing. You don't have a Scotty builder, and Spirit Vessel not the greatest item this game. But that Shivas will help you out instead. Not too bad. I can see the reason for carry Doom against the Morph, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you there as well. I think the issue that they may end up having is that they're going to end up having to commit quite a few resources to kill him if he is able to get off the strength gain at any stage. Just because, again, we don't have a Scotty builder. What does that imply? We don't have anyone that builds AC. What does that really mean? Well, no one's, you know, an Agi core, right? We don't have anyone to actually get through that right-click damage. That's where it comes from.
And you know, your burst damage is mainly the Timber Saw, which is fine, at least in the earlier levels, but later will fall off. But of course, we just said it, Viking UG is trying to play the Temple. So we'll see how that works out. I think Gambit has taken good advantage of the Spirit Breaker. They continue to do so as they go for Celery, dooming immediately the Darkseer. In fact, Celery saves himself with a Cold Embrace, and there's the counteration by Viking GG. They're going to finish off Afterlife, going for Immersion next. They don't want the Squirrel, they want the Cow. And they're going to get some beef here as they're trying to find out Aine. Let's see if Aramis can catch up to him. The Impale does hit, but unfortunately there's no follow-up. Nobody believed in Aramis but himself, and he's there alone trying to get the kill on Aine. In the middle lane, even Kez was actually forcing Lornoff out. That was a really good bait there by Viking GG. They were expecting that for sure. Too 100%. Quick a TP.
I'm not sure if they had intel that this ward was down here. It was immediately de-warded, so obviously Spirit Breaker, he doesn't have vision through trees, so they had a ward back there. But Viking, they are playing this almost, you know, perfect to a T. Well, I want to say, I have to commend them here. I think they're pacing the way that they just know when these heroes are missing off the map, that naturally they're going to try and make a play for the Doom. It's just all looking real good again. There's another miss out from the Bushwhack here. They will connect the stun from Immersion, but they won't be able to kill Kezu.
I will agree that they're playing very well, but I think Gambit has been able to catch him, especially in the early engagements, decently as well. And Viking GG hasn't been able to stop them more from farming either. True. Like, he's only 1k behind a Doom, or 1.5k behind a Doom with Midas. I think that's pretty solid, honestly, as a Morphling, especially in the early game. So, you know, credit where credit is due for Gambit as well. And they themselves, I don't think, are too rushed to get kills either. Like, yes, they could early. They wanted to surprise the enemy team, but now you're more looking to get map control, force fights that are beneficial to you, and not let Viking GG take any unnecessary kills.
Yep, that's the case. Yeah. So that's the only reason I really like that counterplay top.
Wait,
now,
bottom?
I think this smoke may have been scouted. There's a deep ward in the jungle. Shad, again, he's just not really the target you want to go for. 1600 HP, it's going to be hard to burst through that, especially with a tier 1 tower available that the enemies can TP to.
And small amount of armor from the Soul Ring plus Face Boots honestly matters a fair amount here where you're trying to just finish him off. Middle lane, they can try to go for Boom, but this is impossible. You're not catching the Storm with a charge. So, yeah, but they have to desist. And Viking GG, I mean, they keep control over their part of the map. They haven't let them take the enemy tower. They've taken the tier 1 bottom with the strength of the Timber Saw. They're going to be playing on the mid-game power spike more so than the early game power spike they might have. And Timber Saw is well suited to this as well. Now with a new level 15 talent, pretty big deal.
Yeah, you're totally right. And by the way, I've thought about it a bit more, and I think Boom is absolutely making the right call here, going for the Kaya and Sanj. I even spoke about how, we both spoke about how this Boom Storm Spirit is going to be a win condition, right? The Orchid is very much an item for a utility mid laner, right? To get these early kills doesn't really help you scale too much because, of course, all you need is a Dispel or a BKB, and it feels very weak. Whereas the Kaya and Sanj is going to continue to scale into the late game and give you a good amount of damage still in the early game. So I think this is definitely the right call, if that is going to be their game plan, of course.
Yep, I agree as well. I feel like this also gives you much more versatility in terms of your plays. No need to just catch out the Morphling immediately as soon as you get it. Oh, Lornoff. Aramis actually uses Lornoff Morph against him. They do him immediately. Vacuum Wall Replica though. They're going for the Morphling, but Lornoff did manage to get Activate Shift off. Thanks to the Surge, as we mentioned earlier, he can get away. Shed might want to consider going for the Purge relatively early as opposed to that War Stomp. Because getting rid of the Surge is crucial if you want to get these kills.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's of course, the Enchantress is the hardest counter to Darkseer, mostly because she carries that aggressive or offensive Dispel. Being able to eat one on Doom is not that bad of an idea. Especially because, of course, if you can cast it onto Spirit Breaker, you also do actually remove a bit of his damage. Onto Aine, it's got a lot of value here for the Scurry. So yeah, a couple of other things that's it's definitely useful for.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I think, like, War Stomp is fine, but since you're not playing offlane, you already have a Nyx to initiate like that, your Storm carries a stun, I think you can afford to go for the Purge for a bit. But we'll see. You know, I don't think the War Stomp is a bad choice. It's obviously the best pickup on Doom, really low mana as well. So it's okay. I just think the Purge might be a consideration early just to stop the Darkseer. Because otherwise, I don't see too much of a value of the carry Doom. I thought it was mostly a counter to Darkseer here.
That's a good point, right? What is then the place of the Doom?
Because like Doom still dispels, but you're not going to Doom someone that's Surge. Like, we got him. You want to Doom beforehand, ideally. No, Impale. That's not going to work. Aramis just walks in anyway, but he doesn't get the Illusion Rune. I've never seen people fight so hard for Illusion Rune. That was quite the commitment by Viking GG and ASM Gambit.
I think everyone is just, you know, hankering for a bit of a fight, right? We got a pretty aggressive two position fours, right? The Nyx Assassin and the Spirit Breaker want to do similar things, right? They don't farm real well. In fact, I think Nyx farms a lot better than a Spirit Breaker would, but that's not saying much because, you know, Aramis is not going to get a whole lot of farm. He is going, though, for this Aghanim Scepter Rush, which we've seen from him yesterday, I want to say, in their victory versus Unique.
We also saw it from, I want to say it was FNG that did it on his 5 Nyx as well.
Okay.
We've seen it a couple of times on Nyx rushing that Tranquil Boots straight into the Aghanim Scepter. And it's pretty good because by the time you get it, you're either defending your own high ground or sieging the enemy high ground. So it's honestly a really good timing. It's based more on the average timings of the game, regardless if you win or lose. So honestly, pretty clever figuring out the meta in that sense. We're going to get Immersion charging over for Kezu. He is going for the Spirit Vessel, hasn't completed it yet, nor does he have any charges on his current urn. So I think this kill is a bit impossible.
Yeah, a lot of these kills are really hard, to be honest, just due to the nature of having two, you know, utility heroes in your Viking GG lineup, being the Doom and the Timbersaw. You know, I've been giving it some more thought here, Avo, and I still can't quite put my thumb on exactly why the Doom was going to be the pick. I think it was kind of for this laning setup, but ASM Gambit, you know, they seem pretty happy to just, you know, retreat from a pretty bad lane, not put pressure onto the tower, and just continue farming on their own side of the map.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe there's a value outside of just countering the Darkseer that we don't see here. Maybe countering the traditional carries. The Doom against the Morphling is pretty useful, I can imagine. I mean, if you go for the Infernal Blade build, right, I can also imagine that being, like with the Shard, I can imagine that being pretty strong against Morphling. Later stages of the game, it is percentage damage, so even if you fully morph, or fully attribute shift rather, it still hurts him. I think he's a good Shiva's carrier.
Okay.
Like, there's a couple arguments, but I don't know. That depends on how highly you rate the idea of a Doom carrier, right? Because if you rate him really low, these arguments aren't strong enough. But if you rate him, if you think he's kind of viable, then these arguments become kind of decent, you know?
Kezu just pushing the top tower, of course. He's taking literally no damage from this tier 1, and the wagon doing a lot of the work. Last hit will go on over to him. Down bottom, Shad, maybe in a bit of a rough spot. Activates the BKB, of course, not going to stop the Nether Strike from Immersion, who does have a charge away should he need it. It's a 9-second BKB immediately used by Shad, though.
I mean, Dooms don't need the longest BKBs, assuming he's going to go for the carry Doom we've always seen, or you just rush in, you activate your Doom, we use all your spells, and then you walk out. So I don't think wasting the BKB charge is that big a deal. That said, why?
Yeah, I don't think they were going to kill him there. Maybe he thought there were more enemies in the shadows.
Oh, Aramis, Spike Carpus, okay, they used the Impale against him. Aramis is in trouble, they want to get, actually Lorna, but he got away. Instead, it's going to be immersed in the target. That's going to work out for them. They wanted to kill Lorna off there, though. That was the juicy target, but it was impossible. They lacked the stunts for it.
Yep, instead they'll be grilling some steaks here with that kill onto the Spirit Breaker, perhaps even looking for a mid-tier 1 tower now after Kezu's dispatch of the top tower. And again, this was kind of how I thought this game was going to play out. We're going to see a lot of the tier 1 sieged pretty early on, if not by the Doom, then here by Kezu quite effectively. And we're just going to look to close off the map here. That's ASM Gambit have to farm. And they do respond in kind, though, as Dream's able to secure that tier 1 in the top lane. So that'll open up his area to farm by a little bit, especially with that defensive ward placed down.
Kezu, meanwhile, deciding he needs to take this tower. Somehow, he's the only person that can tank this. And honestly, if they find some kills as a result, why not? I don't think Kezu is killable right now.
Yeah.
We did mention how slow Gambit's lineup is. You know, the early game is okay, but now the Morphling and Luna need to come online if you want to get any kills, especially if the whole team is hanging behind Kezu.
If ASM Gambit want to defend this tower, at the end of the day, they can do whatever they want here. They can throw as many Bushwhacks and Acorns, but they can't defend it without Luna. Luna is the only threat to Kezu right now, and Luna would much rather be farming at this stage. Morphling just doesn't have the items yet. He is going into this Aghanim Scepter after the Manta style, so he's very much highly valuing the fact that he is, one, not going to be silenced or otherwise impaired, and then looking to get off this Bulldoze combo. Is there an aggressive use for this one that you could see this game? Maybe onto the Wyvern?
What, an aggressive use for what specifically?
For the Morph with the Ags. Wyvern Ags is kind of tempting
Wyvern.
against a Doom and a Timber Saw especially.
Honestly, in some cases against the Storm Spirit, if you waveform in and you turn into him with Electric Vortex area, that can actually be kind of useful to the late stages of the game. But besides that, no, not really. Those are the only two. I actually think that Storm Spirit's a bit more valuable than Wyvern. Like, yeah, Wyvern could be a thing if you're kind of meaning, but I don't know. I feel like it's really the Spirit Breaker that you want to turn into.
Man, that Winter's Curse is no joke. Plus, it's attack range bonus.
The Arctic Burn, you mean?
Yeah, Arctic Burn. Thank you. That thing is pretty
I
strong.
mean, no, you're right. You're up against a Doom and you're up against a Timber Saw, so there's a justification for that this game. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's the only thing. That's the only reason I really see for it. But I think you're right. I think it's for the most part it'll be defensively. Spirit Breaker, Bulldoze, just get stats and fight. Be that tanky frontliner. Allow Dream to just bounce off these Moon Glaives versus everyone. And as I think that's already a BKB on the way here for Dream. Yeah, it is.
Honestly, there's no Axe bonus, but there's even a case to be made for you turning into the Squirrel Hoodwink. Double Bushwhack, so you have it in perma-stun pretty much, and then the Acorn Shot takes your damage, right?
Okay.
That's gonna be huge for a Morphling. Okay, wait, in the top lane, Kezu is the target. Dream just got stunned. They got him with a Doom here. And that's gonna be a dead Dream. Okay, the carry's down. Immersion can't get away either. They're gonna get 2 kills for free here as Boom comes in from the other side of the map, hoping to kill another Squirrel. Can they do so? Aine trying to run away with the Scurry. He's a bit too fast. He got help with the Surge. On top of that, Aine will be able to survive, but Afterlife are left behind. Here's Lornov joining the fray. He actually turns to Timber Saw. Kezu will suffer his own medicine, but he's trapped. The tree, he couldn't go in. Kezu now saved by the Cold Embrace. Multiple whirling deaths are not gonna kill him. And the Winter's Curse will give Kezu enough space to retreat. Lornov really wanted the kill there, but he's not going to be able to find it.
That was the almost perfect sharpshooter here. Aine unfortunately just not connecting on a couple of the spells. Of course, a couple of Bushwhacks here and there, but the sharpshooter just barely off the mark, unfortunately, after the self-Yule Scepter. That is a weakness of Yule's, that is a weakness of Cold Embrace, that it does set you up for skill shots like this sharpshooter. Unfortunately, Aine just missed it. I mean, it wasn't going to be, it wasn't going to be like the big, the be-all, end-all, right? It's not like, you land the sharpshooter and Viking GG's Ancients explode or anything like that, but a kill on Kezu would have been very necessary there. There's Eclipse now into Kezu in the mid lane. Speaking of him, they actually get the Lucent Beam to cancel him. Yule Scepter's going to stop the charge. Back into another Lucent Beam, but the Cold Embrace here to reset the fight, essentially. Onto Lornov they will go. Another sharpshooter being channeled here. Who's it going to be after? A long one. It will be able to snipe Boom. Pops the Essence Ring immediately, but he's going to be a little bit too tanky here. Still chilling on 1100 HP.
Hey, just level 1. Like 550 damage is fair amount, but it's not, not going to kill a Storm from 100 to 0. And what I like there, actually, the Cold Embrace saved Timber, not because of the healing, because Kezu was walking forward, and they calculated the Bushwhack as if he was walking forward, and he stopped because of the Cold Embrace. I don't know if that was intentional, or if Celery was just trying to heal him, but stopping him actually saved him from being stunned. Well played, Celery, there. I don't think it was Aiden's fault that he missed that Bushwhack, honestly. I think it was a good calculation. Assuming Timber's going to walk back is the most natural course of action there. Timber, who, by the way, is also going for the Kai and Sanj, much like the Storm. The idea is to tank up so much that nobody can burst you down. But we're soon to see that Ags on Lornov they were speaking about. Let's see how this double Spirit Breaker combo works out for them.
Yep, closing in on that one. Luna as well, making really good progress on her items. Unfortunately, unable to get the BKB off. And again, just good warding. I scouted the D ward here that happened from Aine immediately after the fight, but Viking GG, normally you don't make jumps like that, but they knew exactly that either they were gambling on the fact that ASM Gambit were not smoked and waiting in their triangle to counter-initiate, because then that would have been a very costly fight. Perhaps they had vision elsewhere on the map, and were able to immediately just, cut off immersion and Dream. A bit aggressive out from that. Oh, the double smoke. Not that big of a deal. It hurts a little bit. It hurts a little bit.
Yeah, it does hurt a bit, but Gambit doesn't need to get kills necessarily. They just want to, of course, because they want to move the pace of the game. But they're safe in this late game. There's a double charge. It's like, wait, that's Lordoff. And then the second charge is coming in, but oh, they cancel it because it's all the TPs. In fact, Lordoff could be in trouble. They have the Doom, they Doom him. He's had to be shifted fully, but they should have enough damage now. Lordoff, where are you gonna go? He can't use his waveform, vacuum wall replica, but they don't search him in time. They actually stun the Darkseer using the Spike Carpus there, and Lordoff will die together with Afterlife. Spirit Breaker will be able to get away immersion using that charge to safety, but Viking GG just got 2 cores for free there. Another bait there, taking advantage of Gambit's own aggression.
Yeah, that was mighty aggressive out from Lornoff. I think he probably immediately regretted that. As soon as he recognized his team was way too far away. Bulldoze does massively increase your move speed. It's percentage based as well, so it's really nice for moving around the map. But it's also very effective at isolating yourself from the enemy team. I mean, by the time that charge connects, he's still, or the rest of his team rather, is still idling right by the enemy outpost. There's Kazoo just bursting through immersion with rather ease, and they do their best to counter initiate, but not much can be done. Oh, I've got a little bit of server lag here, Avo. Oh, we're all good to go.
We're all good to go, thank God. Once Richie says it, the server behaves.
Yeah,
he just has to whip the server a bit. Server boy, go and do your job. The hamster, as we used to call it in Peru, whenever the server lags, you have to feed the hamster. You know how the Chinese say kale? When Peruvians say feed the hamster, that's what it means, honestly.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, it's our version of kale. Their version, sorry.
Well, the lore deepens.
The lore deepens. Pipe is going to be the next item for Kez. It's going to help him out a bit against these initiations. Gambit's still looking for kills, really, but there's a point where I start to question, are you, like, is this to the judo strap of Viking GG, where they're just waiting for you to punish yourself? Aine? I mean, they're going to find him easily. Aine's dead. Lornoff at the top lane was trying to kill Aramis, but Aramis will get away just in time. In fact, Dream is in trouble. Kenzo's chasing after him. Dream has to take the BKB. Boom is hasted. Okay, he TPs. That's going to be fine. Lornoff still wants to fight this. Gets stopped by the Infernal Blade. There's no Doom this time. Celery using the Cold Embrace. They caught the poor Darkseer. I'm going to send him to an early grave. Lornoff. Oh no. He went back in again. Yule Scepter will stop him right in his tracks. They still have a stun. Lornoff. They have the Shiva this time. But he has a charge to get away. Not with the Winter Curse. Lornoff, where's your charge? Where's your waveform now? Waveform on cooldown for 3 more seconds. Manta styling the slow. And he actually does get the waveform away to safety. Lornoff still alive. Dream came back in though. He has no such waveform. He just got doomed. He got slowed now as well. There's too much area damage. Dream is going to fall. Aine is going to join him as well. Viking GG. They're doing it with a carry Doom. They just took 3 kills because of the over-aggression of Gambit. So eager for kills, they're only fighting their own death.
Yeah, I mean, we're so close to quite a key item here as well for Luna. 900 gold away from the Aghanim Scepter, which of course is only but 2 minutes maybe at most for a Luna who's going to be able to free farm that one up. Maybe then these fights look a little bit different, and I think the fact that you've just given up another pretty tasty fight here for Viking GG. I mean, they get away with Lornoff at the very least, but we get the 9-second BKB out from Dream, as well as his life later on as he TPs to the tier 2 to try and help the Morphlane out, is making this mighty difficult. We do start to see glimmers of hope, though. I mean, Lornoff got hit with a Winter's Curse. He was stunned a couple of times. All of those stuns lasted maybe a combined total 2 seconds across a 30-second chase. So there's the strength here of the Bulldoze for sure, but we just don't really have the damage necessary to get through these tanky cores.
Maybe that's part of the strat. I mean, that was the constant Kai and Sanj. Now with the Shivas, you have somewhat of a way to deal with Morph. If you just keep him perma-stunned, Timber's still in a pretty strong point right now, so they can trust in Kezu's damage. And like we said earlier, I think Boom is a solid win condition. He's been playing as such. He's the main burst they have. That plus the constant Infernal Blade. Shad being able to chase you endlessly. And I honestly feel like Dream hasn't been able to do anything this whole game. Like, Lornoff at least has kill attempts, and he gets close to it, but Dream is just killed every single time.
Yeah. Like, I could see these plays if they... Like, if they were the ones with the Timber Saw, you know, because Timber is real strong right now. He's got plenty of damage to get through these quite squishy heroes, relatively, especially with the strength heroes, but they just don't. Like, they don't really have damage for these full 5-on-5 decisive engagements. Yep. But Viking, they're playing in such a way. I mean, look, 4 heroes right now at the ready to respond to one another in case they're getting gone on. Like, they just kind of know right now as a unit there's just really no conceivable way that ASM Gambit could get off a great fight versus them. Not with their current damage levels anyway. Now this Ags is finished for Dream, so perhaps this changes the equation.
Ags is also finished for Aramis though, so that's going to help him out with a bit more control. You're right. I think with this now, you can probably put the Ags on the Morphling as he does whatever crazy stuff Lorinoff likes to do, you know? Runs in with the Ags on top. You'll have the Spirit Breaker form with Bulldoze. That might be a way to burst down pretty much anyone on Viking GG, maybe besides the Doom. Actually, Doom has fallen off in terms of HP gain a bit, so I think you can still kill him with the Eclipse as well.
Going all in on the Doom. Speaking of his namesake ability, Shad is looking to get 2 of these off in a fight. In fact, he's just about to finish off this Refresher Orb. So it was basically what? I think it was Midas into BKB.
BKB, Blink,
Shivas, and Refresher is the build for the carry Doom here.
Yeah. It's actually very similar to the build we usually see, right? It's actually almost the same build we always see on carry too. Just this time it's working. That's the main difference. I like the shard idea as well. I was talking about it earlier, how strong it could be against the Morph, and an idea to get constant damage against Morphling. He has so many things he needs to dispel this game, particularly the slows when he's trying to run away and you're not surged, that I don't think you can concern yourself with dispelling the Infernal Blade with a 4-second cooldown. It's difficult, so that's always going to catch you. The extra damage is really useful when you're on low HP, and then the percentual damage will deal with you when you're on high HP, so I like the idea. Also, the extra stun is always great.
I like this E-Blade coming through from the Morph lane. I think giving your team a little bit more burst damage, using that ethereal form to try and get through one of these tanky strength heroes, as there goes Lorinoff. Bulldoze now onto Kez. It's only Bulldoze level 2. They've broken him. There's just not enough follow-up here. There goes the Burrow out from Aramis. The rest of the team missing. Boom. Smoked up BKB, Cayenne, Sanj, as well as a DD rune bottled up, very eagerly looking for a fight. Viking, of course, they're on the prowl for Roshan. They could do it. It's just going to be mighty slow, so they'd like to at least win a fight, as Aramis, I believe, has just broken smokes here with his positioning.
They're like, they have to check. They break the sentry immediately. Because Aramis is in this choke point. It's so difficult for for Gambit to initiate. So it seems like Gambit's going to have to go for the wraparound. Kezu no longer has any reactive armor, so this time the break is actually kind of important on him. Last time they broke him with 20 charges, so he was unkillable.
Yeah.
However, the sharpshooter's on... Oh no, sorry, it just came out cooldown. There we go. So you can kill Kezu now.
Do we have Morph at the ready? What level is Lorinoff? Yeah, he's got Morph ready. Let's me. Oh no, Bulldoze is max. Pardon me. Bulldoze is max. I think he's been forced to max that for the most part here. It's Charge, which is not max, but I assume the 13th skill point will go there to give your Morphling the best chance at closing the gap and getting off a good stun. There he goes.
This Roche is not that slow, actually. I'm surprised. Maybe the double damage is helping a lot, but I mean, they're doing it.
Yeah,
it didn't even take that long.
They are doing it. I didn't quite catch when they started, but you know, extrapolating
Took them like a minute.
I mean, that's better than I would give this roster, to be honest.
Yeah,
Not
right?
roster, sorry, lineup is what I should say, right? Because of course, Doom 1.9 BAT, Storm Spirit. Although he's built for kind of more as a carry, right? It makes sense, especially with that DD rune, really doubling, doing a ton of damage. Timber eventually has enough damage with Chakram over time. So yeah, I mean, sure, the ASM Gambit, either way, not confident in fighting it. I think they recognize they do have quite a few problems, because not one of the few heroes that you could kill before, being the Nyx Assassin, if he is burrowed up, is going to have an extra little bit of damage resistance in here.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Alright, let's see. Viking GG. Still a 10k lead for them. They're quite happy with how things are going, but Gambit, I think they figure out they need to slow down the game, just take this as late as possible. I feel like there will be a point where Viking GG's team fight will no longer be as strong. They'll lack the damage to kill you, and you will have the damage to kill them. That's why Viking themselves are going for the smokes now. Oh, that scan.
I say that's true to a point, for sure. I think overall, like Omega late game, this should still be ASM Gambit, but I feel like Double Doom is always just amazing. Lorinoff does get stunned here. The Doom's going to get dropped, number 1. Shad has a refresher. They're just going to leave him. Immersion's actually canceled the charge. He's going to TP away. Shad is going to see him leave, as the Doom will tick away Lorinoff. Dead for 69 seconds.
Okay, Lorinoff stayed there. I guess he couldn't have saved him anyway, but that felt pretty bad. Losing Lorinoff like that. That was the scan that caught him, and now they have free range. Yeah, there you go. For the squirrel. Goodbye, Aine. Had a ward up there. I think she should have realized, like, I'm dewarding this against a storm. I'm probably dead here.
Probably
Bloodstone finish for Timber as well.
Yeah, that Arcane Rune facilitating that kill for Boom. By the way, we have picked up this Aghanim Shard now for Shad, so it's going to be the old level death is back. Pardon me
Nice.
for Shad. Plenty of damage. I'm sure that contributed to the kill here on our Morphling. Oh, what's going on here? Who's this? It's Aramis.
Aramis.
Cutting the wave top lane, or I guess skipping the wave.
He's just trolling here. As a Spike Carpus with a Lucid Beam.
Yeah. I
He
mean,
can hear the stupid Luna, so I'm assuming that's why he's so frustrated by this.
those 2 kills are very costly because we can see now what they turn into. All of a sudden, we've lost one tier 2 tower. We're likely to lose this bottom tier 2 tower. Losing the mid tier 2 opens up the outpost, so now your jungle's gone for farming. And because Aramis actually cuts the way, Viking GG, this is their equivalent of putting their foot on the gas here, just looking to take away all this map control and really slow the pace of the farm here from ASM Gambit to a crawl. That's going to allow them to it's going to give them the biggest window to utilize all this gold eventually. I mean, 16k is a lot, but it's mostly items is what I want to say, like on Shad. And the Dooms, of course, being able to refresh that. Timber got a lot of utility as well with his insight.
Can you clarify what else would I use the gold on specifically?
By that I mean, like, I don't think their core to core is all that amazing, right? Like if we're 33 minutes in and we have equal farm, like I think ASM Gambit are very happy with this. But because like we have this great item advantage, that does help give you the edge. I mean, you're right, it is kind of a John Madden thing to say. You know, oh, they used their gold and they spent it on items. Thank you. But
Aine is gonna die. Okay, I see what you meant now. I see what you meant. I was wondering, is like, what do you do? Do you just give it to the creeps back?
No,
like, is this the charity form of Dota?
You're totally right. You're totally right. Thank you for having me clarify that.
Aramis is going to find Immersion as well. Spike Carpus will cancel that. And then the Impale. Immersion still had the Bulldoze on, but he's not going to be able to get away because he has no charge. Did he drop the gem there? They saw you, Immersion. That was a cheeky play. Thinking he could just hide it, but it was in the middle of the trees. That was quite funny. So, I will say, by the way, a point to... Oh, Lornoff? No way. Can they kill him in time? They miss the Timber Chain. That's unfortunate. Lornoff will be able to get away. Eclipse now, punishing Kezu. As a Yule Scepter, still the Bloodstone heal available as well for Kezu. He's not going to die here. The pipe even activated. Lornoff spitting fire. He can't even control it. Oh, he actually broke the tree, so Timber couldn't go to it. But the Doom is here. Boom goes in yet again. And how is he going to get away now? Vacuum Wall Replica, but Lornoff can't wait for him. He's been stunned. He's down for the count. 70 seconds down, and Winter's Curse finally comes out of Celery. He does the Cold Embrace to save himself from Lucid Beams, and they will manage to kill Aine as well with a War Stomp and a Doom. Now stopping the Darks here. Afterlife won't be able to survive this, but it's Dream's time to shine. He wants to clean up everything Viking GG's trying to do here. Wants to kill Shed first. Will accomplish this. The Spike Carpus saves Aramis, and he kills Immersion with an Impale, but Dream is still on the prowl. He wants to get at least a second kill to make this time worth it, but it seems impossible. Viking GG a bit too tanky and certainly too mobile for the Luna to catch up.
Oh, that was such a costly fight, though, for ASM Gambit. I mean, they just have to use all the buybacks there, otherwise the game simply is over. But Viking GG, this is the equivalent of just shoving your net worth advantage down the enemy's throat. I mean, we can see, you know, the ideas and why this draft and why the items that ASM Gambit have gone for, you know, are starting to pay off, but there's just too much HP. This Winter Wyvern as well, just such a pain in the butt. It just costs them everything, and all they get out of that is just a Doom.
Yeah, and a Doom that's already farmed enough, right? So I think that the loss, I mean, yeah, you get a bunch of gold out of him, sure, but the loss for Viking doesn't really matter, because now it's a Storm that's really the one that's going to carry you, or the Timbersaw, if anything, with the build he's going for now with Ags. So it doesn't seem like he killed their main carry, to be honest. Once he gets the Dooms off, I feel like his utility's been used.
Yeah.
Or his main source utility, rather.
Yeah, he's still around for what is still just the casual War Stomps, which are not inconsequential, you know, to be fair. But for the most part, again, that's kind of what I was meaning by, you know, they're just putting their net worth to use. Doom's such a great ability. Now you have 2 in the fights. That just simply never falls off. It's just such a damn good ability.
Yep. So I was going to mention this earlier when we talked about map control. If they just let me, Aine, okay, just murder. Seriously, Aine is not a good game. Poor guy. Keeps getting caught out. We talked about how much the Storm counters the Squirrel.
Yep.
It's been notorious. Yeah, so the point I was going to make is because Gambit really does have a weaker team fight, like that's something that's never going to be fixed. You know, because Viking GG doesn't have a real carry, you have a lot more sources of team fight. Both as a tank, counter initiation, solid single target catch. Everything is better for them. So in that sense, so the less map control you have, the harder it is for Gambit to even take a safe fight. Sure, you have great damage sources, but who's your control? Who's able to jump in? Who even saves you if things don't go your way?
Oh, they're going to try and make a play on the Celery. There's the double charge, and they have immediately blown it up, but they've actually got low enough, able to at least get off the Manta style to back away. They've got Kezu stuck onto the high ground. Not for long, the Timber Train's back down as Afterlife doomed up, cannot escape here. Immersion trying to charge back onto Aramis. He's going to be on the cliff where he's killed off. 3 dead. That is a dieback, I want to say, on at least the Darkseer.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Well, that sucks. For Viking, that sucks for Gambit. I don't think that's going to be... I mean, I think Viking can just use this. I think that was a dieback for the Squirrel as well.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, I just heard Shad refresh. Obviously to get a second Doom back, but also devour, refresh, and then devour again.
Yeah, ultimate efficiency. I guess you wait for Roche here if you're Viking. Yeah, you can try to siege high ground, but let's be honest, you really don't have any damage for those towers.
Well,
I think your best damage is flamethrower.
It is. Yeah, I mean that's not bad, but that's not exactly what you want to. You don't want to recreate the laning stage here between you and Luna, where she just presses Q on you and you slowly but surely die. So you're right. We need to go in with a nice advantage. Roshan is going to be up within the next 16 seconds to 3 minutes after that. So that's going to be something nice to go for. Aramis is doing his best to cosplay a ward here, just taking control over the enemy secret shop. But we continue to extend the net worth lead here in favor of Viking GG. In fact, they're going to make a play now towards Immersion. They've actually hit him with a sheep stick. Can they kill him off in time? Not quite. As now Immersion looking to try and turn, just standing there, taking a lot of damage out from Aramis, who burns plenty of mana.
Constant impaling here by the Nyx to get rid of the illusions. They're just trying to get Roche. It's actually going to be super fast, so I think that's the fastest Roche.
Yeah, just about. What was it, 10 seconds?
So 30 seconds, I think.
Fastest is 10, but yeah, it's one of the faster.
Close.
Yeah. So it's up there, and that's going to be very, very nice for Viking. Make that ASM Gambit would have definitely preferred a nice 3-minute period where they can farm, pick up their neutral items, maybe get that one last item here before you go for the move of last resort, the Papa Roach, the Pizale, as I like to call it, and the French as well. I didn't invent French.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of French before I met you. Much like I didn't hear of Summer until I saw the Wii play.
Ah, very true. Yeah, very true.
There's the shard under Roshan as well. That's gonna help you. Who do you get the shard to actually? Who's missing it? You can actually give it to the Winter Wyvern for a bit more magic damage. Why not?
I think you give it to Storm.
So strong, guys. I'm
Yeah?
so strong.
Yeah. I think you give it to Boom. I think that overload
that is a
real
really
great.
good line, actually. I wish these were permanent, because I would actually buy Fanatics just because of that line. That's an awesome line.
I love all the lines. I think the great part about it is you get each team's and each region's kind of individual memes going, even if you don't understand them. Right?
Except for those that paid for someone on Fiverr to write their lines for them. Those are not too great. But everyone else's, I agree. I love the cuts pack particularly. When are you guys going to play the game? I think that's my favorite line.
There's so
ever.
much personality, isn't there, in all the
That's such
NA
a good
teams'
line.
lines? Yeah.
Yeah, and the cuts loading screen might be the, like, I would put that in the Louvre, honestly. That was amazing. It's better than the Mona Lisa. That is wonderful.
All right, second Roshan. Again,
oh, look,
fairly
she's
slow.
even helping.
No, she
like,
hit the Doom. She hit the Doom.
I know, I'm kidding. You can't hit the Roshan with Sharpshooter.
Kezu has got Egg, so he's got double Chakram now to play with. As he needs to protect this Roshan. Looks like ASM Gambit just going to have to wait to get a little bit more farm. We have taken overload attack bounces, so I think that giving Storm the shard is a given here.
Yes. No, they don't bounce when you give it to other people. It doesn't bounce on it.
Not anymore. That used to be a thing. It's no longer a thing. Yep.
It is really strong, actually.
All right, lowering off. Ninja Gear down bottom. His Ninja Gear is going to break. Aramis, he's got eyes on. Did not get off the spike carapace in time. The Impale's just going to miss. Could have been disastrous there for ASM Gambit.
In case you haven't seen the shard on Storm, by the way, Electric Rave, as it used to be called, or Overload, it just gives 3 Overload attacks to people around you, pretty much.
So strong, guys. I'm so strong.
And a bit of attack speed, actually.
All right, this is a promising play. I actually think that I think that Lornoff made that play down bottom on purpose to try and split the team up here, or the enemy team up a little bit. They're going to smoke up and look for something. I like this.
Okay.
I think this is their best chance, because I think if you just let them come high ground, they're just kind of unkillable at this stage. I don't think you have the damage necessary. Look how tanky Kezu is, 4,200 HP.
Yeah, with Pipe, with Reactive Armor, with Bloodstone Healing as well, like, and Sanj even, honestly. How are you gonna... I like actually what he did as well, Kai and Sanj, and he disassembles it to get this Bloodstone off. But... I don't know how you kill this guy anymore.
No, I think it's proven to be rather difficult here. Unfortunately, we didn't
especially now with the builds that you have. You don't have any sustained damage on the Morphling. Went for the full burst here. Maybe Morphling was better going for stats this game. I'm actually surprised he went for the E-Blade. I get it against the Wyvern. I get it in the early mid game. But now, seeing that you went for the Lincolns, you're just a shotgunner, as opposed to having like some sustained damage with Luna.
Yeah, I was also a bit surprised to see that. but I thought it at least made sense. I saw the use case scenario for it because we did go for Ags on Luna relatively early, right? So I think
so
those
burst.
Right, yeah. So I think that's the idea, and then you can just kind of 5v4 after that. But we've yet to see that really pan out here, unfortunately.
But Kezu's pipe was a good choice to stop that, right? That pipe made those kind of combo a bit useless. Dream's like, guys, I have listened to me for days. One day Kezu will die.
There's a wraparound coming, though. Gambit, they're going to smoke up as 3. Lornoff is looking for anyone really positioned far away. Maybe even just going to cut the wave. But you've got the initiators coming from behind. Aramis is going to set up shop here, go in and get nice and cozy as Kezu and Boom very, very slowly going to start going for this lane of barracks. Yeah, they're just cutting the waves.
Push.
They're just cutting waves. Yeah, this is a put. Oh, there's backdoor now kicking in. Good luck.
Guy, it takes him so long to take even a single Rax. Boom is even using Overload to do more damage to the Rax. I don't think that's how it works, buddy, but he's trying.
I think it's just getting into the practice of it, right? Just getting into the habit. I feel like the Ags is a really nice addition for a late game Storm. Not that I think he was weak in any regards, but I think since it's so new, you know, you just use it whenever you can just to get into the swing of it, if that makes sense. But I mean, even the Storm Spirit, by the way.
He was using Remnant, not the
oh, I see. He's clocking in at 3k HP, man. This Storm Spirit they're all so tanky.
That Kai and Sanj worked out, even as a BKB as well, which was saving from honestly most of the bursts you can. Like Eclipse doesn't last 6 seconds. You just, what else do you need the BKB for, right? You just use it for the Eclipse, and then Luna's useless. That whole item on Ags just didn't seem to work out for her.
I mean,
like, don't get me wrong, I don't think the build is wrong considering what you needed earlier, but now it's a dead item for sure.
Yeah, I think the Scotty in retrospect probably was a bit better here for our Luna.
Yeah.
As there's Boom going hunting. Is that the squirrel? No, it's actually the Darkseer. He's just blown up by Afterlife. That's going to make pushing his barracks a bit easier.
Equally as killable.
Yeah. Both heroes that like to scurry away.
Yeah, Darkseer, I guess, scurries not because he wants to. Can you imagine if you surged Darkseer and he started running on 4 legs? That's how he gets faster. It's like a nightmare fuel right there.
That would be a little scary, yeah, especially with his purple head. Pointy
because he keeps talking about making your head not pointy. That's actually his whole lore, right? He wants to get people to not have pointy heads like him. He hates people with like square or round heads and disgusts them.
Like
Darkseer's a racist. That's what he is, honestly.
Wasn't like you very much with that square head of yours.
Oh, no, he hates me. I'm Darkseer's #1 enemy.
Kezu is slow, going through these barracks pretty respectably. Everyone's just ready to go. Eventually, ASM Gambit, they were just hoping they would find someone in the jungle, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. There's the Hex onto Immersion. Sharpshooter is going to miss. Immersion pushed one way and the other. Eventually he's going to come out on the other side. He's hoping to try and get the Greater Bash, or sorry, the Nether Strike onto Boom. Last pair of barracks standing though. Viking GG pushing their 31k net worth lead. Boom has Aegis here, so even if he loses the life, he's going to be okay with it. Hunting for another squirrel. That'll get him killed off at least once. But Aramis all the way from the low ground here, landing on the stuns as Shad. Unfortunately, he's only going to be able to find Immersion. There goes Lornoff on the way in. Vacuum wall combo as well. They've got good damage here onto Boom, but he's going to be able to get the zip out just in time. Immersion bursted down as Kezu still alive, hit by the E-Blade. Now the Cold Embrace heal. Look at that healing per second, and now they're going to be able to get off the Winter's Curse to reset the fight. Boom immediately going back in. He's got a BKB, so the Budget Black Hole doing so much work, and that's now going to be Lornoff dead for a minute and a half. GG is called. Viking GG. They make the carry Doom work, and they take a Game 1 lead versus ASM Gambit.
I'm glad we didn't discount the Doom carry entirely, right? Like, we were doubtful of it because we haven't seen it succeed, but we went, you know what? If it's Viking GG doing it, I've never really seen a draft by them that would say, oh, this is a really bad idea. There's always some logic behind it. I think Immortal Face strikes me as the kind of guy that